on this, but it's Riedl, right?
Riedl, right.
Riedl, okay.
Yep.
So we're here today with Georgene Riedl with Crossrip Gallery, and we're talking to her about being a gallery owner. Georgene, could you tell us about how you began and what it looks like for you today in the world of being a gallery?
Well, I started about 5 years ago, I think, in 2019, and it was sort of, I had a property, I owned a property, and one of a tenant who had a business there decided he didn't want to use one of the rooms, and he didn't want to use the sign outside, and I had been painting for a long time, well, for a few years anyway, and I knew a lot of artists who needed gallery representation, and I said, well, I think I'll open a gallery here. It's right on Route 28, so that's basically how I started. I had the space, and I had a sign, and I knew artists, and I was painting, and I just knew how difficult it was for artists to get into galleries, so I thought, I'll create another one.
Great, great. And what is something you wish you knew when you were starting as a working artist yourself?
Not to be shy about putting your art out there. You know, I've found, since having the gallery especially, that everybody responds to something different. And everyone has different tastes, and I will find that, you know, people come into the gallery and they'll go to a certain artist or a certain painting or a certain sculpture, and somebody else will walk right by it. And they'll go towards something else. So it's sort of this universal, everybody has, you know, a different feeling for art. And I think that artists shouldn't think that, well, there should be, you know, there's only a certain kind of art that people like. Don't do that. Just be true to yourself, and, you know, just do what comes out, what, you know, your best expression.
Great, great.
Yeah.
And what about when owning your gallery? Is there anything when you first started that you look back on and you're like, oh, I should have changed that, or I wish I could tell someone more about that?
I think I've had other businesses before. I had a travel business for 25 years, and so I know that it takes a while to build a business and to get a good reputation and get people to know what you have in your gallery or your business, and the type of people are there. I think that I would say that I didn't expect it. Of course, I ran into COVID. You know, first we were getting, you know, it opened up 1 year, and that was great, and, you know, it starts to build, and the second year it really built on that, and I think built on that, and then I think it was the third year was COVID, and so things kind of came to an abrupt halt, and then the next year was pretty good, you know, and I guess this is probably the fourth year or whatever, but I would say that it just takes a lot of work, and it's, you know, something that you can't sit back and say, oh, okay, I opened a gallery and build it and they will come. You have to really keep going out, you know, letting people know that you're there, what you're doing, keeping them interested, and showing the work. So.
Great. And how do you sell your particular work as an artist, or, you know, what works, what doesn't work? Well,
unfortunately, you know, there's two sides to having a gallery. One of it takes all my time. It's really, you know, basically monopolizes my thinking during the day. And so I haven't had much time to try to go out and sell my own work. I do have it in the gallery, and I've sold things there. And but I normally I joined all the organizations, other museums, and I've sold things through PAM and through the Cape Museum of Art, and you know, different venues like that. And so I think it's just a matter of putting it out there and people see it, and again, you know, people walk by and say, wow, I like that, that speaks to me, that sort of thing. So that's why I do it. I do have things online too, and I've sold things through the gallery, because my website I haven't updated in a while. Like I say, it's just like, it's not about me, unfortunately, the gallery. It's about, you know, other artists. So I don't focus a lot on myself. So, but people do buy through websites. So
great. And would you consider here on Cape Cod that your business is seasonal? And if so, how do you plan for those off-season times?
Well, it is definitely seasonal. I was surprised at that. You know, as I said, I had a business, a travel business and that was seasonal in some ways, because in the wintertime, it was busy, because that's when people wanted to go away. In the spring and the summer, it was quiet. I had another business, which is more an art garden-oriented business, And that again was seasonal because it was during the growing season that we were busy. And so I've kind of used to having winter's quiet time, but it's a time to start looking and studying about, different artists or what you want to do for the following year. Time to go away, take a break, try to clear my mind. Definitely, really need to do that.
Right. And how do you plan financially to be able to carry the gallery through that off season?
Well, I'm fortunate for one thing. I own a property, so I don't have to worry about the rent. so that's very good. I'm fortunate also to have flexible help who, they can work when I need them. They don't need to work all the times. Going forward, I would like to be more full-time, more year-round, but I think, with the kick in the pants that we got from COVID, it's taking me longer to get to that point where I had somebody that we could, just keep going, because a lot of work can be done online, and that's time-consuming, and to have somebody kind of keep that ball rolling, while we're closed is good. But
great. And then how do you like to be approached by other artists in your role as someone who owns a gallery? Do you like them to approach you? Do you seek artists to be kind of at your space? What's your goal?
It's a combination.
Okay.
I do that. This past summer we had, I usually have featured artists or guest artists, and one of the artists I invited lived in Brooklyn. I found her in New American Painting. She had been chosen to be one of the New American painters. And I got her, and I get people from Provincetown. Barbara Cohen was, so I do look myself because I want to offer variety and some different interest. And the name of the gallery is Crossrope Gallery. I like the idea of different currents coming together and the excitement it creates. So I do that. Some people get in touch with me. Some people drop in. I being an artist myself, I always try to take the time, and I do respond if people, reach out to me, because I know I don't want to just ignore them. But it's a matter of, I personally, as far as how many I can handle, I do try to promote all the artists individually that I have. So it's not like, I see some galleries that have like 30, 40, names. I said, how do they do that? I said, really, because I want to make sure all my artists are showing, whether or not they're being featured or not. I make sure I've got a couple of their works up anyway. So I just, it's a limit how many people I can focus on. So.
Is there anything in particular that navigates you to an artist in general? Is there something they do, how they respond to you? Is there something that attracts you?
Well, first of all, their work, I like artists who are very creative. I don't, an artist who is just spinning out work to sell. I mean, not that every artist wants to sell, but I think that shouldn't be the motivating factor. I want a person who's being creative and imaginative, and so I first look for that. I said, wow, that's really, how did this person, when I get excited when I see something, I say, how did that person think of that or do that, or, that sort of thing. So I look for that, and also, knowing them, getting to know them a little bit, for them to understand that we're a team, that I'm not working against them and they shouldn't be working against me, that I spend a lot of my time trying to promote their art. So, hey, we're all in this together.
Right.
So that's important. And some artists are very appreciative and they understand that. And so that's the sort of person I want to work with.
Great.
Because it's there is so many good artists out there, and so much good art, and it's very exciting. It's like when artists bring in work to me in the gallery, it's kind of like Christmas. It's, oh wow, it's kind of neat. So it's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Any last piece of advice or anything you'd like to share with everybody out there?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Just be true to yourself, and don't try to do things that will sell. Don't have that be, again, the motivating factor. Do things that, work from your subconscious, do what comes out. And I think then it shows in your work, and people respond to that. So I think that, especially with abstract art, some people will say to me, I just don't understand abstract art. And I say, well, you don't have to understand it. It's what you feel when you see it, because an artist, really, I think a good artist works from their subconscious. You know, it takes over, the work takes over, and you're not using your mind as much. I mean, yeah, yes, there's things in there, you know, basics, you know, that come out just by, like, you know how to drive a car, but you don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when a good artist is working from the subconscious, the viewer will respond with their subconscious, and you don't have to understand why you like it. You just say, I like it. You know?